Today I will discuss, that is the lecture 3. Today I will discuss about different types of patterns and also pattern materials, that is under unit 1. At the end of this lecture, student will able to learn the types of pattern and which types of materials will be used for preparing the materials and which materials will be far better for materials. Okay. Now casting pattern. Okay. A pattern is generally used for casting process. A pattern is used for preparing the mold cavity, for preparing the as per our required casting product. Okay. Now generally the selection of the pattern materials, that will be depends upon different factors. Means every materials has some advantages, some disadvantages and some another characteristics for every materials. Okay, and that some factors, what are the factors? Means every materials has different capacity for carrying out the numbering. Numbering means number of castings, that will depends upon the different materials, pattern materials. Another is quality of the casting, means the cast product will be good or bad, that will be depends upon the pattern materials, and also depends upon the degree of finish. That will be another thing, degree of finish, quality of the casting, another number of casting, means that will be varies from every materials. Means every materials has different capacity for preparing the casting product. Okay, and also pattern materials, outer surface of the pattern material, that depends upon surface finish also depends upon the outer surface of the pattern materials also, and also quality of the casting. Now different color we have used for pattern. So what is the meaning of the different color? First one, yellow color. We have used yellow color in the casting. What denotes that? That yellow color denotes the core prints, means yellow color will be used for core prints. Another is red color. Red color will be used for surface to be machined. Red color will be used for surface to be machined. Another color, black surface, will be used to left unfinished portion. Black color shows the to be left unfinished portion. Another last one, colorless. Colorless will be used for parting surface. First one, yellow color will be used for core prints. Another red color will be used to surface to be machined. Another black color will be used for surface to be left unfinished, means unmachined portion. Another colorless will be used for parting line, means parting surface. Function of the pattern. What is the function of the pattern? Pattern will be used for preparing the mold cavity in the casting process. First one, means it is used for preparing the mold cavity. Okay, and another, some accurate patterns provides the good casting product, means the surface finish, dimension of the cast product, and also quality of the surface, that also depends upon the pattern materials, means that will be depends upon the patterns. That is the function of the patterns. Very good patterns also prepare the defectless product, casting product. That are the function of the pattern. Another, materials used for patterns, means some key factors depends upon the choosing of the pattern materials. What are the factors? First factor, material for patterns is easily available in the market and the pattern materials will be cheap. Another thing, pattern material should have good surface finish, otherwise the outer surface of the casting product, it will not good, because the surface of the casting product will be surface quality of the casting product will be very poor, means not good quality. Okay, always the pattern surface will be very good quality. And third one, pattern material should withstand higher temperature, because we prepare the mold cavity, okay, and sometimes we using some higher temperature material will be used for preparing the mold cavity. So always pattern material must withstand the higher temperature. That points are very important points. One, material will be easily available in the market and it will be cheap. Second one, the pattern materials outer surface, the surface finish of the pattern materials, it will be good. And third one is it withstands the higher temperature. What are the materials generally? We have used for making the pattern? What are the materials? First one is wood, second one is metals, third one is plaster of Paris, fourth one is plastic, and fifth one is wax. Generally wax. That 5 types of material we have used for preparing the pattern. Okay, and that type of materials easily available in the market for preparing the pattern materials. Now we are discussing in depth. First, wood. Wood is easily available in our market, and also price of the wood, that is also very low. And that are the some basic advantages of the wood material. Wood also light in weight. Weight of the wood also very less. Easily available in the market. The cost of the wood also less. And any type of shape, means pattern shape, any type of pattern shape we can prepare using wood materials. And fourth one, wood. Some wood materials are there that provide the very good outer, very good surface finish. So, but some disadvantages are there. Wood material generally absorb the moisture, and sometimes it can change shape. Due to absorbing the moisture by wood, it will sometimes changes its shape at higher temperature. And sometimes we prepare the mold cavity at using some materials at higher temperature, using the pattern materials. So at that time, maybe the shape of the wood materials may be changed. Another, woods has less strength, okay, and maybe wires. When we use the wood material as a pattern for preparing the mold cavity, we give the molding sand materials and also giving the some pressure for compacting. Using some rammer, we giving the pressure, and due to providing the pressure on that molding sand materials, sometimes maybe shape of the wood maybe changes, and also sometimes it wears out. Some parts, corner parts or sharp edges may be wear out. That are the some disadvantages. That are the disadvantages of the wood material. Some example, which types of wood materials we have used for preparing the pattern. Example, pines, deodar, walnut, teaks. That type of wood will be used for preparing the pattern materials. That will be used in casting process. Metals, different metals are there. Cast iron, brass, aluminium, that type of materials will be used for preparing the patterns in case of casting process. And that type of materials has very good surface finish, and also it has higher strength, and also it will provide the number of castings, and also it will, due to higher strength, it does not wear out during casting process. That are the, due to that causes we have used that metal materials as a pattern in casting process. Now, advantages already I have told. Advantages means more surface finish of the metal patterns, and deformation is less, means the strength of the metals also very high, means it does not wear out during casting process. Okay, and also it will maintain the closure dimension tolerance, means it produces the accurate casting product. Okay, generally the dimension of the casting product will be very good due to use of metal pattern. What are the disadvantages? Disadvantages of the metals, it is very costlier. Okay, and then it is also heavy. Sometimes some pattern materials also weight is very higher, and due to higher weight sometimes we avoided some pattern metals as a using of pattern materials. And another thing, it will produce some rusting. One of the main disadvantage of the metals, it creates the rusting, because some metals will be react with the oxygen, with oxygen of the air, it will react with oxygen and produces the oxides, and due to formation of the oxide it creates the rusting on the outer surface of the metals, means the quality of the metals will be deteriorate gradually. Another material, plaster of Paris. Plaster of Paris you need to set up, means that plaster of Paris material easily we produces the any type of pattern. Using plaster of Paris material we easily produces the any type of pattern. Okay, that type of pattern, what are the main advantages of the plaster of Paris material pattern? Means it will prepare the any type of intricate shape. Intricate shape means any type of complex shapes easily we have produced using that plaster of Paris material. Any type of intricate shape of the pattern materials, using that materials easily we have prepared the any type of intricate shape. Okay, and using that intricate shape easily we prepare the different complicated casting product also. And what are the disadvantages of the plaster of Paris materials? That plaster of Paris materials is a fragile material, means brittle material. It does not use for repetitive. It has no quality for no repetitive uses. It has no repetitive uses because it is a fragile material, or it is a brittle material. Due to fragile properties of the plaster of Paris material, it has no repetitive uses. That is the main disadvantages of the plaster of Paris material. And advantages, any type of pattern easily we have prepared using plaster of Paris material. Second one, any type of intricate shape easily we have prepared using plaster of Paris materials. Plastics. Now today we have, at present we have used the plastics material for preparing the pattern, because pattern material as a plastics, it has lighter weight, it has also strength also, and it will dimensionally stable, means it produces the good dimensions. Okay, due to that thing, and also plastic easily available in the market, and also at present the cost of the plastic also low. Due to that advantages, we generally used as a pattern material plastic. Some example, thermoplastic and polystyrene are commonly used for making the patterns. Okay, thermosetting plastic means phenolics and epoxies are generally used as a pattern materials. Already told what are the advantages, light in weight, and cost of the plastic is also low. It maintains the strength, and also it produces the good dimension. Okay, and also at present the surface finish of the plastics, outer surface finish of the plastic is also very good. That are the advantages of the plastics material. What are the disadvantages of the plastic material? Some plastic materials are there, the strength of that plastic materials is very weak, and also sometimes due to handling of that plastic materials in the casting process, sometimes wear will be created to that particular plastic material. Last one, wax. wax will be used for investment casting process. Okay, that wax material prepare the any type of pattern. Using that wax material prepare the pattern, and using that pattern we produce the any type of casting product with very good surface finish. Using wax we prepare the pattern, and using that pattern making by the wax, that will produces the very good surface finish of the casting product. And also wax material has very less cost and easily available in the market. That is the expendable pattern, means only one time we have used that wax material, easily available in the market, and the cost of that wax material is very low. And what are the advantages of that wax material? That is, one time we have used and also it is easily broken. Okay, and that type of wax material is used for small type of casting. Large type of casting it will not used. What are the patterns? Different types of patterns are there. First is single piece pattern. Second one, two piece pattern, or it is called split pattern. Then multi-piece pattern, means more than two patterns we have used. Another match plate pattern, gated pattern, sweep pattern, loose piece pattern, skeleton pattern, shell pattern, and last one is segmental pattern. That are the different types of patterns we have used for preparing the any type of product using the casting process. First, single piece pattern. Single piece pattern means it has a member of one member, single member, means it means it has only one section, and inside this the shape of the pattern is made, means that is the shape of the pattern is a single piece. Okay, means not double pieces, means only one piece we have used as a pattern for preparing the any type of shape. That is the single piece pattern. It is called single piece pattern. Another, split pattern. Okay, split pattern, or it is called two piece pattern. Means that is the two piece. Means that is one pattern, it will be kept on the upper side of the cope, and last one means that part, the other piece of the pattern, it will be kept on the lower part of the molding box, means drag part. Okay, and these two patterns will be joined by the or connected by the dual pin. Using dual pin we connected these two pieces, and these two pieces kept, first upper part will be kept to the cope portion, and lower part of the pattern will be kept to the drag portion. Okay, and both are connected by the dual pin, means that two sections connected by pin, that is called dual pin, means attached by the two patterns, attached by the dual pin. Okay, another, these two pieces kept on two parts of the molding box. Upper one will be kept to the cope part, and lower part will be kept to the drag part. That is the split pattern or two piece pattern. Why it is called split? Means when we lose the or open the dual pin, then both pieces will be splitted. Means both pieces will be divided, separated. Okay, that's why it is called split pattern. Multi-piece pattern means what happens now, more than two parts, more than two patterns we have used in that multi-piece pattern. Multi-piece means one part will be kept on the cope part, means that is the mold. If we consider that is the molding box, the upper part is called cope, lower part will be called drag, and middle part is called cheek. Means what happens in that multi-piece pattern means one part of the pattern will be kept on the cove side. Okay, then lower part will be kept on the drag side, and some parts of the pattern will be kept at the middle means one part in middle part means at the portion of the cheek, that is the part 2, and the lower part is the 3, means more than 2 patterns we have used in case of multi-piece pattern. Last one means fourth one, match plate pattern. In case of match plate pattern, what happens? Now first half of the pattern will be kept on the cove side, that is the cove side. Okay, and lower part of the pattern will be kept on the lower portion of the molding box, that is the drag side. Okay, and both part of the pattern will be kept on the match plate. Okay, in match plate pattern, the cove and drag section of the split pattern are mounted on the opposite of the metal or wood plate. If we consider that is the metal plate or wood plate, just both shape of the pattern will be kept on the both side of the match plate. That is called match plate. Means match plate may be made of metal or may be made of wood. Just we kept the both part just opposite side of the metal plate or wood plate. That is the match plate pattern. Gated pattern. In case of gated pattern, the main components are gates, runner and riser. That are the main 3 parts of the gated pattern. Okay, and in that type of pattern, what happens? The metal pours through the runner and then it is passes through the several gates are there, and finally it will come to the mold cavity. You see, that is the picture of the gated pattern, means that are the different patterns, that are the different patterns are there, different patterns. Okay, that are the different patterns. Okay, and that is the entrance, means that is the gates, that is the gates of that particular mold cavity. Okay, now and that horizontal portion, that is the runner, that is the runner portion. And some arrangements is there, means pouring basin or pouring cup, and screw portion is there, and through the pouring basin we pour the molten metal. After pouring the molten metal, then it will come through that runner to that particular mold cavity. Okay, and that is the gates, and through that gates it will come to that particular mold cavity. Means pouring molten metal comes to that particular mold cavity through that gates. Okay, means it will come every mold cavity through the gates. Okay, and also use that passage, runner passage. Through that runner passage it will come through that gate to the particular mold cavity. Okay, that is the gated pattern. Another sweep pattern. What happens in case of sweep pattern? Now half shape of the casting product we have produced. Means you see this picture, means that is the sweep pattern. Half portion, that is the half portion of the pattern. Half portion of the pattern we have prepared in the sweep pattern, and that is the rotating spindle. That is the rotating spindle. Rotating spindle. That is the rotating spindle. If keep the pattern, means half shape of the pattern, keep one side, and then we fill up the pouring molten metal and using some molding materials, then prepare the mold cavity using that shape. Okay, half shape. Again the rotating spindle will be rotated, and that half portion come to that particular portion, left portion. Okay, that type of shape also produced in that site. Okay, and after preparing the mold cavity, then we pour the molten material, and same shape, symmetrical shape will be produced using that sweep pattern. Okay, means each takes time, okay, but the total production cost is less in that process, means in that casting process using sweep pattern, okay. Means what happens, means half section of the casting products it consists of mold cavity and rotating spindle and sweep pattern is there, means half portion will be first produced, then it will be rolled, and again that shape, symmetrical shape will be produced, and finally we have got the total symmetrical shape of that particular pattern. And then after preparing the mold cavity with symmetrical shape, then we pour the molten metal for getting the final cast product. Loose piece pattern. So in that cases has some projecting parts, means extra parts, means here that is the molding box we have considered, that is the molding box, okay, and that is the molding materials, that is the molding materials, and kept the pattern in that particular molding box, okay. Then we prepare the some extra portion to that particular pattern, okay, means we produce some extra shape as per our requirement. We want to prepare the extra shape to that particular product, okay. So that's why we added some extra pieces, means that is called projecting parts. We added some extra pieces, means that extra pieces is called loose piece pattern. That is the main pattern, okay, but we want some extra portion for some purpose, means due to that extra portion we have added some extra pattern, means that is the loose piece pattern, that is called loose piece pattern, that is called loose piece pattern, okay. Means what happens, now when a pattern is projecting parts, that below above the main parting line or above the main parting line, if you consider that is the parting line, you consider or you assume that that is the parting line, that loose piece above of that parting line, sometimes again that loose pieces may be below the parting line, okay. Means as per our requirements, the position of the loose piece depends upon our as per requirements, okay. If we consider that is the parting line, across this parting line position we can say the position of the loose piece above of the parting line, if we consider that is a parting line, okay. If we consider that is a parting line, the position of the loose piece will be above of the parting line. That loose piece pattern will be used for preparing the maybe outer shape or maybe inner shape will be produced in that particular product. Skeleton pattern, and in that pattern very big type, means large type of shape we have produced using skeleton pattern, very huge parts we have produced using skeleton pattern, maybe outer shape, maybe inner shape we have produced using skeleton pattern, okay. Very means that may be solid, that pattern shape may be solid or maybe hollow type of shape we have produced as a pattern shape, okay. Like rib cage, means it will shown as a rib cage, and that skeleton pattern will be used for producing the outer or inner surface structure to that particular product, okay, and that will be used for producing the particular outer or inner surface to that particular product. Another shell pattern, in that pattern generally made of metals and fitted on a plate like a split pattern. One of the pattern will be placed on the upper part of the cope and lower part will be kept to the particular drag part, means that is the lower portion of the molding box. What happens in that particular pattern, we see that is the clamp. Okay, that is the clamp. Okay, and another, that is the ejector pin, and we see that part is the cell, that is called cell, means cell membrane, that is called cell membrane. Okay, that is called cell membrane. Okay, and that is the heated pattern, that part is the heated pattern we have kept here, and that is the dumb box, means molding box, that is the molding box, and that is the molding materials, means that is the sand and resin mixture, that is the sand and resin mixture. After preparing the using that mold pattern, using that heated pattern, we prepare the that type of shape, we have prepared, okay. After preparing that type of shape, we just open the ejector pin and remove the pattern, then that type of cavity will be formed, okay. And that is the, actually that is the dumb box, means that is the molding box, and that is the sand resin mixture, that is the molding materials. Okay, after preparing that type of cavity, we pour the molten metal from the ladle, that is called ladle. From that ladle we pour the molten metal, and finally that type of shape will be produced, that is the finished product. Means that type of shape denotes the as a cell, that will be denotes as a cell. Okay, that denotes as a cell. Okay, and finally we have got that type of product, because we want to produce that type of product. As per our requirement, we produce that type of cell, and we finally produce that type of finished casting product will be produced. That is the cell pattern. Means in that pattern, lower part will be kept to the drag side and upper part will be kept to the cope part. Means two parts is there in the molding box. Upper portion is called cope, lower portion is called drag, and middle portion is called cheek. Means it will both part will be lies across the parting line. Last one is the segmental pattern. It will be used for producing the ring type circular product. Means very large type product we have produced using skeleton pattern. Okay, and the final products also, finally we have produced the final products by repeated way. Repeated way means what happens now, in that first one place, if we divided that pattern in three category, we divided into three category. Okay, means three parts are symmetrical type product, that is type 1, that is the type 2, type 3. Both three are symmetrical shape. First one, what can I do? First one, we prepare the pattern in that particular shape. Okay, after producing the pattern, we kept to the molding sand box, and finally that shape will be produced to that particular molding box. Then again one rotating spindle is there, again we rotate the spindle, then again it will come to that particular portion, again that cavity on that shape will be produced. After preparing that shape, again we rotate the spindle, then again come to that particular position and prepare that particular shape. Okay, means both three sides are symmetrical and produce that type of shape. Okay, after preparing the mold cavity, then we pour the molten metal, and finally that type of final product will be produced. Means what can say? Repeated step using the pattern. First we mold it one place, then we rotated the pattern to the next portion, again the molding is done. Means one part will be produced, then again it is rotating, then again same part will be produced, because both parts are symmetrical parts. Both three parts are symmetrical parts. That's why we rotate the pattern. In that way, taking the more time for producing that type of shape, but the total production cost is less in that cases. What factors should in mind when design a pattern? What are the main factors? First one, selection of the proper materials of the pattern, because depends upon the proper materials, the surface finish, number of casting, quality of the casting, that will be depends upon the pattern materials. Second one, selection perfect type of pattern to that castings, means as per our requirement we prepare the pattern, and depends upon that the casting, finally we have done the casting process. Third one, allowances should be kept in mind while designing, because when one pattern is there, as example we have taken, in that case in cell pattern, if that is the produced cell, okay, we keep the molten metal to that particular cell. After solidification, means as example take that is the mold cavity, okay, that is the mold cavity, okay, we pour in the molten metal, then particular shape, take the whole shape of that particular pattern. When it will take solidification, after solidification some void will be created to that particular solidified product in between, that is the mold surface, that is the mold surface, and that is the surface of the, that is the mold surface, that is the mold surface, and that is the product surface, means product surface, that is the product surface, okay. In between that two surface the some void will be created, means we provide some allowances, okay, but as per our required dimensions it will not produced. So for getting as per our dimension, we take some extra, we get some extra shape of that particular mold cavity, we take some extra shape or extra space to that particular mold cavity, then finally we have got the final product, we have got the final product as per our dimension, okay. Fourth one, avoid sharp edges, means if sometimes sharp edges or sharp corners will be provided to the particular pattern, when we handling that pattern, maybe it will affect it, maybe corner will be broken, maybe wire taken, maybe tear will be taken place to that particular sharp edges or core joints. So, and we handling the core joints and core parts, pattern parts, mold parts, so maybe joints and sharp corners may be affected, may be deteriorated. So due to that thing, always you avoid the sharp edges and core joints as per requirement, okay. If sometimes it is needed, so maybe we provided that sharp edges and core joints, but in general you avoided that type of edges, otherwise maybe the corner joints may be affected, and after producing the final product the quality of the shape will be also deteriorated. And what is the concluding learning outcomes? From that end of this lecture, students have learned the types of pattern, also what are the types of pattern and what are the materials will be used for preparing the materials, and what are the advantages and disadvantages of the different material, that will be discussed in that lecture. Now I will show the different types of patterns through this video. Different, that is the solid pattern, means that is the shape cavity, and in that cavity we pour the, that is the solid pattern is the simplest types of pattern. Here we pour the molten metal from the ladle and take the shape of the as per pattern shape, and finally after solidification that type of product will be, solid product will be produced. and that is the split pattern. Means two parts are there, and that is the dual pin. By that pin we have connected dual holes, and that is the dual pins. One part will be kept to the cope side and other part will be kept to the drag side of the molding box. That is the match plate pattern. That is the match plate. And on that match plate, we just kept upper part and both part. Just opposite side of the match plate. Upper part is called cope side and other part will be called drag side. That is the middle part is called match plate. That is called split pattern. Already split pattern. That is called match plate pattern. After that, we kept that in the molding box. That is the lower part, drag part, and that is the cope part. And again, we fill up that box using molding sand. Again, we taken the match plate, and that type of cavity will be formed to the molding sand. Then again pour the molten metal and produces the shape. That cope and drag pattern. Cope and drag pattern means one part of the pattern will be kept to the cope side, other part of the pattern will be kept to the drag side. Okay. Means one part will be kept to the cope part, other part will be kept to the drag part. That is the molding sand. One part kept to the, then both part will be kept to the molding box. Now we fill up that mold box using molding sand, and using ramming properly we compact the molding sand. Finally that type of shape will be produced. Gated pattern means different patterns will be there. Means middle part is runner, that part will be shows the screwing basin, and that is the pattern, and here gates are there. Means number of patterns we have produced using gated pattern. Gated pattern, different gates are there. Now skeleton pattern means very large type of casting we have produced using that casting process. That is the pattern. Rib type, construction type, maybe made of wood, maybe metal. Sometimes we have prepared that skeleton type pattern. Means that shape will be prepared as per our requirement. And for filling up that skeleton pattern, we use the loam sand. After filling up that skeleton pattern, now we rammed using stickle board. Means we remove the extra sand materials, loam sand materials. Means that is the one part, then other part will be prepared, and both the parts will be jointed. That is the loam sand. Discussed using that sweep pattern, rotating spindle is there, and that type of symmetrical shape will be produced here. Symmetrical type shape will be produced here. That is the rotating spindle, and that is the sweep board. Means symmetrical shape will be produced throughout the circular zone. Means one part will be, in case of segmental pattern, one shape will be produced and then it will be rotated, then again same symmetrical part will be produced, then again it will rotated, then symmetrical part will be produced. That is the segmental pattern. One pattern shape will be produced, then again it will rotate, then again it will produce the shape. Means that is the symmetrical shape.
This process is repeated until the
That's repeated. Entire pattern will not produce. Only segment of that pattern will have produced and produce the circular shapes as per symmetrical shape. Shell pattern. Cove of the pattern. Cove hub will be kept to the cove side and other part will be kept to the drag side. That will be filled out by the molding sand material. Then it will be kept to the drag side. Now again we fill molding sand material. Now again using that shape, now we produce the solid product using the molding sand material. Pouring the molding sand materials and pour the solid product. Means we want these types of shape. That's why we produce that type of shape, and again means that is the core. Core is used for creating the internal features. Means core is there and here shape is there, and in that particular shape then we produce, after producing that shape we pour the molten metal. That is the loose piece pattern. Means extra loose piece is there, means some projecting parts are there. Means extra parts we have added to that loose piece pattern and finally produce some projecting parts to that loose piece pattern.